All right, welcome back. We're going to now hear from Ruitao Su, CEO and co-founder of Acala, on Acala's cross-chain DeFi hub, stablecoin, and decentralized sovereign wealth fund. Take it away, sir.
Oh, hi, everyone. Nice to everyone. It's an honor to be in the Polkadot Summit. My name is Ruitao Su. I'm one of the co-founders of the Acala Network. Today, I'm going to share what we've built on the Acala Parachain and a little background story about our team. We'll be more focused on sharing what we have built that will be available for Polkadot holders or for users to tap into. So we have founded on 2018. We have 18 plus contributors and growing. Our team is growing. We have contributed in a pretty much decentralized way. So I'm currently in Auckland. It's very early morning for me. We also have team members in Shanghai, and in Albania, and in Austin. So the Acala Network is the DeFi hub on Polkadot, powering open finance applications. I can still remember when I first started to work on the substrate and the Polkadot ecospace back in more than a year ago. The community was still pretty small, but for today, it's quite excited to see there's like over 6,000 audience in the very first Polkadot Summit. So for today, I'm going to share like what a specialized blockchain or what a specialized finance blockchain would looks like on the Polkadot network. So the Acala Network is a Parachain built on top of the Polkadot relay chain in a specialized way. So by itself, it's a sovereign Parachain network. That means that we have full control, or the network's owners have the token holders have full control on the business logic for this particular Parachain. And I think in today's talk, we hear a lot of mention about specialization, and Acala is one case of that. So we are specialized in finance. We have to take advantage of the substrate framework, and we specialize in the finance sector. We have a set of built-in financial primitives. And on the other hand, because we are a full-fledged blockchain, we are also a platform for smart contract and bridges. But for today's talk, I will be more focused on talking about the built-in financial primitive of the Acala network and how it's going to help token holders, traders, users of the Polkadot network to take advantage of this specialized financial offering. The built-in financial primitive in Acala, I think there's like 3 core components. There's the stablecoin pieces, so we have created a decentralized stablecoin. There's also a built-in DEX, which pretty much very likely going to be the very first DEX to go live on Kusama and Polkadot. And there's also a very useful staking derivative products. And the reason that we built this financial primitive is because not only because they are useful, but they are also interact with each other in a very smooth way. So let's talk about the stablecoin pieces first. The stablecoin is a fully decentralized stablecoin backed by mature crypto assets. So, for example, you can characterize your Bitcoin, you can characterize your DOT or Kusama in order to generate the stablecoin, which we call AUSD. And since the interoperability is one of the key features of Polkadot, we would assume that the asset available on the whole Polkadot ecosystem would be growing. So the stablecoin that you are able to mint using any sort of mature asset would be also growing. In its core, the stablecoin is trustless and is secured by the relay chain. So this is the specialization or the shared security of Polkadot comes into play. So on the Acala chart, we fully customize, take advantage of the substrate framework to fully customize and build this stablecoin logic. But the security or the trustless nature is governed by the relay chain. By tapping into a relay chain, that also means the stablecoin that will be minted will be available not only within the Acala Parachain. The stablecoin can be also circulated into other Parachain and being used as a currency, as a stable currency for other Parachain projects. It also means that other assets that are available on other Parachains, for example, the BTC, built by the Interlay team, there's also RenBTC we've been working with. All those assets will be available on the Acala chart that can be used at some stage as crypto to maintain more stable coin. So that is the idea of like a decentralized stablecoin built on top of Polkadot. When we look at the substrate framework, we look at like how since we have the full control of the business logic, we look at like how we can actually fine-tune this full control, take advantage of this full control, and fine-tune this stablecoin. There's actually a number of innovative ways that we invented when we were designing this decentralized stablecoin. You will see that in the upcoming demo. Also, there's the built-in decentralized DEX exchange. It's pretty much an AMM type of curve type of exchange. It's also served as a unified source of liquidity in our Parachain, in the Acala network. That means that the liquidity on this DEX is not only can be used for trading, the liquidity in this DEX can be also used for liquidation when there's a risky position need to be liquidated. Also, there's also one very innovative feature that comes into play, that you are able to pay gas fee in any sort of token simply by tapping leverage into this built-in decentralized exchange, which I'm going to show in the demo very, very soon. Also, there's staking derivative products that comes into play as one of the core offering of the Acala financial shard. It's simply a trustless staking pool. So that means that dot holders or Kusama holders can simply deposit their dots or Kusama into this staking pool and exchange get L dots or LKSM as the representation of their stake assets. The stake assets will be liquid, so it means that the asset itself is as good as the original asset, but it's liquid. It's no longer bound to the 28-day or 7-day unbounding period of the relay chain. Even better, the derivative can be also used as a collateral. That means that when you are minting stablecoin using dots or KSM, you don't have to essentially give up the staking rewards that otherwise wouldn't be. It simply doesn't quite work out if you simply want to lock up dots or lock up KSM. So you have to give up the opportunity cost. So if we imagine like all these three pieces come into play, we can start to see a picture of like how the inter-blockchain money Lego come into play, or how the inter-blockchain or multi-chain future that we imagined. I can already think about quite a number of stories that enabled by tapping into this set of financial primitive. For example, for a Bitcoin holder, a Bitcoin holder can simply characterize his Bitcoins, take out a loan against the Bitcoin position, and borrow some L dots, essentially gaining stock staking rewards without liquidating Bitcoin. And since this is a platform itself, someone can come in and code a smart contract, maybe do a sort of like the staking reward derivative to accrue dot staking reward in Bitcoin simply by deploying a set of smart contract. And there's many, many more other possibilities simply by tapping into the financial primitive that were built for this Parachain. So this is pretty much what we have built so far. And I think without further ado, we have a fully live testnet for the perhaps been running for the past 3 to 5 months. Has gained a lot of community support. So I'm actually going to go through a very thorough walkthrough of how the Acala network looks like from the user's perspective. So this is the Acala front-end tab. You can think about this is like sort of like the super tab into the Acala blockchain. It's one of the entry point to gain access to the Acala shard. On the first tab, you can see is pretty much your wallet and also a number of assets that you will have access to. I can simply transfer my USD to other accounts, or I can check out my balances. I can transfer my L dots, which is already liquid. It's pretty much my stake derivative. I can transfer to someone else. I can also get into the stablecoin section. As you can see, this is like the asset supported by the Acala shard that you're able to use to make stablecoin. So I already have a position open with RenBTC. You can see that I've characterized 0.05 RenBTC, and I already have a borrow position of like $500. I can essentially borrow like maybe $10 more by confirming this transaction using the MetaMask, using the Polkadot JS, which is the MetaMask equivalent on the Polkadot network. So you can see how fast it performs, and this is live on our fully pledged testnet. I can obviously create other use other crypto to generate stablecoin, for example dots, or I can use L dots as to generate stablecoin as just prescribed. That you will be gaining staking reward while taking out a loan. So this is how you mint the stablecoin. Now, once you have the stablecoin, the other section that we have in this built-in Acala shard is the decentralized exchange. So pretty much I can exchange my AUSD to any other asset that will be available on the Acala shard. So in these cases, I can exchange my AUSD for some RenBTC. I'm going to click swap. And this is an AM type of exchange. I can simply swap $10 more spend $10 for AUSD and receive a little bit of RenBTC. And as you see that this is a trustless decentralized exchange as well. So pretty much everyone can add liquidity and withdraw liquidity. The LP token is also represented in the wallet. You can transfer your positions in the liquidity pool to someone else. By itself, this decentralized exchange is already quite useful. It's tradable, it's efficient, it's fast. But as I mentioned, this is also the unified source of liquidity. So imagine that if there's a risky position in the long section that need to be liquidated, you can think about this source of liquidity from the DEX can be served as a liquidation source of liquidity as well. So if a risky position needs to be liquidated, there's actually an off-chain worker that runs as a scheduled event. Will compare the auction price with the DEX price, and if the scheduler find out that the DEX price is better, the position will be actually liquidated through the DEX, and that means that liquidity provider in the DEX is not only earning the liquidity provider award, they are also earning the liquidation penalty. So this is how we build a number of protocols and let them interact with each other. This is how we take advantage of this fully customized blockchain and take it to the next stage and see how this stuff actually work together. The final pieces of this built-in financial primitive in our chart is the liquid staking. By itself, it's quite useful. So if you want to stake, simply you just need to swap dot to L dot. L dot itself is like the representation of the pool, and it's more of like an yield-bearing token of your dot. It's trustless and it's liquid. So I'm going to deposit one more dot into the pool to gain a little bit more of L dots. So as long as you are holding to L dots, you will be gaining the staking reward, and you will be able to enjoy the staking reward while able to freely transfer your staked dot asset. Even better, you can use the L dots as a collateral to generate a loan, so you no longer need to give up the opportunity cost of like locking up 10 vanilla dots instead of L dots. To unstake or to redeem your L dots, there's actually a number of ways for you to redeem your L dots. You can just as a swap back, you can swap back the L dot to dot immediately. Some fee will be involved because in the pool, we actually set aside of some dots for free. So you have this immediate redeem. There's also this advanced feature. If you prefer not to pay the fee, there's the immediate, there's a number of like advanced redeem feature. You can say that I'm happy to redeem my L dot and wait for the standard 28 days unbounding period. In that cases, there's not much fee required. But if you really need that dot now, and if you really need the liquidity of a vanilla dot in your hand, at the instance, there's also always a set of dots aside in the pool for you to redeem. And overall, if the fee being paid by the redeeming of the free dots generating is average to behave or perform as good as the staking reward, the over pool performance will be equal or better than otherwise you would just stake with the Polkadot network. So this is a number of protocol that we built together to make this financial chart and fine-tune for any sort of financial application to happen on our particular chart. And obviously, we also have the governance pieces built in. This is really close to finish. There's like the number of council that oversee all different sections of the app. That's the early talk about the early topic that Rob talked about in the Parachain section. Like each Parachain itself is also sovereign, and so each Parachain will have their own governance process as well. We also recently released an article about the Oracle that we're able to build and cooperate with a number of teams to build an open Oracle gateway. Again, we are taking some sort of advantage of the substrate's fully customizable functionality here. So the Oracle fitting price into this particular chart in the Acala chart is not only free, but the Oracle fitting is prioritized. That means it's no longer a very counterintuitive experience. Like if you want to fit the price into Oracle, you are not competing for the other transaction usage of like the trading activity or things like that. So by designing this way, the Oracle price feeding is more frequent and it's more safe. So pretty much this is like an overall walkthrough of the Acala front-end deck. Let's get back to the slides. And in the past 3 months, or the 3 to 5 months, we have gone to a number of community events. We host a number of campaigns, and we are able to accrue a very, very good community following. Currently, there's 30,000 community members spread across our Telegram channel, our Discord channel, our WeChat channel. There's 40,000 side transactions on Testnet, and I think overall there's like 30,000 account created on the Testnet. And this is we are fortunate enough to able to accrue a very, very great community following. We also have been partnered with quite a number of projects in building this financial shard together. There's pretty much all the permanent project in the Polkadot ecospace. We also have backers like staking backers, funds, any sort of support that's, I believe, in our decentralized vision of a network fine-tuned for finance. We're able to fortune up to accrue this set of partners. And as you can see, the stuff that we build today is not only be useful for any trader or consumer, it can be also useful for developers to take advantage to as well. So there's a number of ways that developers can deploy or can integrate with Acala. On the most deeper integration, developer can deploy smart contract on the Acala shard, take advantage of what we built. For example, the AUSD, the L dot, all those would be like available on the smart contract level. There's also developer of other Parachain can tap into the Acala AUSD or L dots simply by utilizing the inter-shard communication by tapping into the stablecoin token that we're offering. We have a wider ecosystem integration. And one of the projects that we've been working very closely is the REN project. So they have been working very closely with the Acala project from the very beginning. They have built a bridge from the REN VM to the Acala shard, so that RenBTC or Ethereum can be teleported through REN VM to the Acala shard. I would like to invite the CTO or co-founder of the REN project, Loong, to give out a guest speech. And since Loong is actually in Australia, and I think it's now 3 a.m. for him, so this is a pre-recorded message from REN. So I'm gonna stop share my screen so we can play the video.
Hey everyone, my name is Loong and I'm the Chief Technology Officer at the REN project. Here at the REN project, we're building trustless, decentralized and permissionless technology that enables interoperability between various blockchains. We've started with Bitcoin on Ethereum, and since we launched in May of this year, 2020, we've done more than $1.3 billion in volume and have more than $300 million in total locked value. And we support Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, and Zcash on Ethereum, but most of this volume comes from Bitcoin at the moment. And what this enables users and developers to do is to access Bitcoin in a permissionless way in their DeFi applications. And this obviously has many different advantages. But one of the reasons why I'm excited for it and to discuss it in the context of Polkadot is that we'll also be bringing Bitcoin and these other assets to the Polkadot ecosystem through Acala. And what this means is that users will be able to take Bitcoin, transfer it to a Bitcoin address, and have that Bitcoin appear as a token on the Acala network. And here, users are going to be able to do a bunch of different interesting things. One of the most obvious initial use cases is that users are going to be able to take Bitcoin and use it to create AUSD, a synthetic representation of the US dollar is backed by Bitcoin. So you can sort of still keep custody and still keep ownership of your Bitcoin, but convert it temporarily or for as long as you want into a synthetic US dollar representation called AUSD. And you can use that to interact with the rest of the DeFi ecosystem that's going to be living on Acala and the rest of the Polkadot ecosystem. Something else that you can do is that there's going to be a whole bunch of different Bitcoin representations on the Polkadot network, most likely. I'm aware of at least 2 other implementations. What you'll be able to do is you'll be able to take all these different forms of Bitcoin and put them into a stable pool. This is something that exists in other blockchains today, one of the most prominent ones being Curve on Ethereum. And this is where we've been seeing the most volume for Bitcoin on Ethereum. And we expect that we'll see similar things on other chains as well. Of course, you can also take Bitcoin and you can use it to bond it as collateral to take out a loan. And you can do this in a trustless sort of DeFi native way, where you've got an over-collateralized loan that gets automatically liquidated. And again, you can take that Bitcoin and you can take this loan. One of the interesting use cases, you can then use the loan that you've taken to go buy more Bitcoin, and you repeat this process. And you can take, and through that, you can sort of leverage your exposure in a fully trustless and decentralized way. There's endless opportunities really for how you might want to use Bitcoin in the Polkadot ecosystem and in Acala itself. One of the things that really excites me about inter-blockchain interoperability is the fact that we can do more than just bring Bitcoin and other assets to the Acala ecosystem. We can also bring Ethereum and Ethereum assets to the Acala ecosystem, but we can also bring Acala and Acala assets out to other we can also bring Acala assets out onto other blockchains and use those assets in DeFi that already exist today in these networks. So, for example, you could take AUSD that you generate on the Acala network. You could send it out of the Acala and Polkadot ecosystem entirely, and you could send it to Ethereum or Binance Smart Chain, which are two chains that RenVM already supports today. And you could use your US dollar representation there in existing applications, whether that be DEXs, whether that be lending platforms, or whether that be applications that don't even exist yet and pop up in the future. So one of the really powerful things about RenVM and why it's so useful to these different ecosystems is that it's completely agnostic to the kind of application that you might be working with. So while there are other forms of interoperability that do exist, they're typically very specific to a very specific use case. They either only support a small set of chains, or they only support a small specific set of applications. With RenVM, you can support any application that you might build. Everything that exists today is supported, and anything that you might build in the future is supported. And there's no restriction on what kind of chain can be supported. So by integrating RenVM with Acala, what we're really opening up for that whole ecosystem is access to existing DeFi, both being able to bring it to Polkadot, but also being able to get access to it where it is natively. That's the reason that we're interested to see the Acala network go live, and why we've been working very closely with their team to support Acala in the RenVM. Thanks.
Awesome. Great. I think it's great to hear from the project they've been working very closely, the REN project. Great speech. Thanks, Lon. So in fact, I'm going to actually show how the power of a fully customized network would look like. So I have a brand new account in my dApp, and this is a very common scenario. This is like a RenBTC user might experience. So let's say they are RenBTC users. They minted 0.1 RenBTC by transferring the Bitcoin into the RenVM address, and then they will be getting 0.1 RenBTC minted on the Acala shard. And this is a very common scenario. So you have some RenBTC in your wallet, but you have no other tokens. On other blockchains, or on very similarly on the other smart contract platform out there right now, you might have to acquire some ACA or some native token to be paid as gas fee. But in our cases, because we're able to leverage the full power of the full customization, essentially, the system would allow you to use RenBTC as gas fee. So I can freely go there, into the tab and say that I'm willing to characterize my RenBTC. So probably I'm going to characterize 0.1 of it and take out like $200 loan. I'm going to go next and happy with that. Sign for the transaction. And what happened under the hood is that the system will be liquidating a fraction of my RenBTC in exchange for the native token and pay for the gas fee. But essentially, from the user's point of view, I'm using RenBTC as gas fee when transacting in this shard. And this is a power that you're able to do if you have full control of the business logic in the blockchain level. That also means if you have AUSD and if you want to transfer AUSD, it is viable for you to pay AUSD as gas fee rather than paying some native tokens. So I think this is already one of the huge user experience lift. It might be extremely beneficial for a foreign user to tap into this Acala shard and can able to start transacting immediately. So this is the power that we can start to see, and we can see a lot more a super user-friendly feature being like this flexible fee feature that we've implemented being rolled out one by one. So this is pretty much to demonstrate like how a fully specialized blockchain would look like, as a glimpse of like how it might look like. So I think this is pretty cool. And so let's talk about the launch plan, like how are we set for launch. So first is that the Mandala testnet that I just demonstrated is live. Everyone can go ahead and give it a play right now. It's risk-free. There's also a faucet in our Discord channel. You can get some test tokens to play with. Our plan is to launch our network in both Kusama and Polkadot. So we're going to go live on Kusama first as a canary network for the Acala networks. And once the Polkadot has the Parachain functionality, then we will go live on Polkadot. The development status of the Acala shard is pretty much like we have finished the development. We are just fine-tuning, optimizing all the related pieces. We have went through a number of security audits. I think we just released a security audit from SR Labs, and we have another security audit that's coming up as well. So in terms of feature-wise, we are ready and just waiting for the Parachain functionality to go live so we can launch. So how do we launch these networks? So we launch the network by going through the Parachain lease offering. So essentially, in a nutshell, the Parachain lease offering is like the auction process of like a dot holder or a Kusama holder can simply stake their dot or their Kusama exchange for the native network token of the Karura or the Acala network. It is a way to give up distribution. It is also a way to have community ownership. But I think the most important factor of this Parachain lease offering is it is a lossless form of participation. The dot or the Kusama they will use for staking or to stake to bond the Parachain will be returned to you upon the end of the Parachain lease. So you are essentially not giving out the dot to the project. The project only get a shard or get a slot to transact with. So we think this is like a new paradigm shift in terms of like how you push up a network. It not only give great sense of ownership, a much safer way for holders to participate. It also hold the project accountable to deliver what they promised. So we think this is a very cool way to push to the network. We will be joining the Parachain lease offering on both Kusama and Polkadot once the Parachain auction functionality has been is enabled. The best way to follow up and to get notified when we are planning to do Parachain lease offering and the details is to follow our Twitters. I think it's getting really, really close. So make sure that you follow our Twitter to stay notified. And I'm not sure if I have time to go through the dSWF. I think that's probably was another talk. But upon this, after this financial primitive that we built, we also built a DAO that's on top of everything. So the DAO is to manage surplus, and it's also a unique design of the economic model to make sure that our Parachain, through a number of Parachain lease offering, can reach to self-sustained bonding. And once the DAO has sufficient asset to bound for itself, the DAO can also bound for other Parachains, and we will be very soon to talk about that. There's a difference between AUM and TVL. But I think for today, this is just a hint of like what's coming up once we go live, where the unique play of the Acala ecosystem will look like. So that's pretty much the talk to share with the community, like what we have built so far. And thanks everyone for joining us in these sessions. I'm not sure if there's any questions we can answer. So Peter, can you see if I can hear?
Hi, Ruitao. Peter isn't here at the moment, so yeah. So we've actually run out of time, so we don't have time to questions. So we'll move on to the next session. But thank you so much. That was super interesting.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, everyone.